You seen everybody?
All the Wazy Vibes, welcome to the Trini Boyz channel here. Today we're going to discuss who betrayed Raymond Reddington. Now let me get straight into it one time. I personally think it's between two people, and it's one of this person I never had any rumor. I asked people before what they think about it and all of that. Alright? But nobody seems to care about this particular guy here, and I'll keep him for last. But my number one suspect is Marvin Gerard. Sonny, what do you think?
Nah, well, for me personally, I know people might think no because I hear it already, but I will still bring back up Liz because of the fact that Liz was a person that she get real smart now, way. You know, she get real smart, and then they'll say, well, hey, why she have Cooper in danger? Why she had the whole task force in danger? Technically, she always had the task force in danger when she was doing she stuff now.
That statement they make on the end there, I can't give it to you. Liz always was making more headache for Raymond Reddington and also for the task force. However, you're talking about a body to take out from the ground. Take a chip out as she come on, man. How we going to say that?
Okay, alright, okay, no problem. You could say that they take out a body from the ground, take off a chip, whatever is the case like that, right? The same as you could see in the show itself that the prove that basically anything possible. You know, they prove that basically anything possible. You could see where Mr. Kaplan and where Raymond Reddington is really not Raymond Reddington and the real Raymond Reddington was dead. And, you know, all those different things now. So you could actually see that in the show, most things are possible now.
Alright, I know you're trying to be the devil's advocate to that one, right? But that is okay, no scene. Personally, I think the fact that they digged up the grave, I think that was to let everyone know Liz is gone. I don't know, I could be wrong, but let me be real. You can't tell me you're going to a woman body, find a chip, and now they're going and bring it back. Now, even if you're right, Sonny, that's not the problem, man. I just been like, could the fans accept they dig up this body looking like Liz and it wasn't Liz? Like, really, you could accept that?
Well, okay, let me just say it's not Liz, right? Okay, let me just say it's not Liz. If it's not Liz, then I will say that Raymond knew Bodyguard. I believe she in it because of the fact that she asked him what does Liz's daughter mean to him, you know, and then he had to answer that question as it was a kind of weird question to ask now. And also, I understand that you could have seen that it was Mr. Kaplan's sister, right? But somehow, I still feel that she alive because of the fact that you just see how normally, if you see a body, it means someone dead. And you never see Mr. Kaplan's body.
No, you're right 100%. But you ducked me when I asked about Liz, right? But as you jump across to Mr. Kaplan, we talk about that off air.
Okay.
That I think it could have been her sister. And I think they confirm it was her sister because the doctor who did the autopsy for Raymond Reddington privately, the guy who he brings in, right? He claimed it was a 50% match, which means it was her sister, right? So they confirmed that in the show. However, I just want to touch on my first suspect, which is Marvin Gerard, right? So just give me a minute or two to just get into Marvin Gerard. Now, I've been honest with you, suspecting Marvin Gerard, right now with this situation, it wasn't on my own thinking. I saw something, a little theory somewhere, and I realized I started to open my eyes to the Marvin Gerard theory, right? And I realized my whole point of view was, every time in this season, Raymond Reddington dealing with any matter at all, you're always seeing him basically calling Marvin Gerard, right? Every time he have to do something or he go into this place, any piece of information he has, he always passing it on to Marvin Gerard, and it seems to be always leaving the betrayer one step ahead of Raymond Reddington. You could agree with that?
Yeah.
Right? So, it's like, to me, every time they get closer and closer to getting a piece of information, even concerning, what's the head of the task force again? Well, Cooper, right? It's Cooper, right?
Yeah.
Right, Cooper. So, when it is Cooper and all dealing with his stuff, well, everybody who look into the show up to where it is right now would know both scenarios linked together, right? The guy who was setting up or framing Cooper is also the guy or the woman who shot or has the whole theory behind Liz's death of why would she gets shoot and how they know where she was and all of that nonsense, right? So Marvin Gerard, I just want to point out one scenario specifically with Marvin Gerard. The day when this lawyer, which I think they could have built a big storyline behind, LaCroix, when LaCroix stepped in the building, I remember when Raymond called Marvin Gerard and he told Marvin Gerard to meet up with him. I think it was he was supposed to basically defend Cooper in the court.
Right.
And he said, well, I have one thing to do and then I'll get up with you, right? And he also told him about the policeman who they was going to raid, right?
Right.
And you saw that the policeman got a phone call immediately and he started cleaning up everything. Now, we cannot say it was Marvin Gerard, but the only person outside of Raymond and the task force and his soldiers that knew about that was Marvin Gerard. Okay. Alright, so I believe Marvin Gerard, he also came on the site, right? He's one of the only people who know about the black site. And the way LaCroix came so confident and sure about everything, it was like they're making it obvious to us as if Marvin Gerard is the person that betrayed him, and also they're making it obvious to us the same way that Raymond Reddington is Katrina Rostova by doing basically a gender change, right? Now would they make something so obvious throughout the show and yet still make it be true, or they would surprise us like the show has been surprising us all the time?
Okay, well, I would say that if they actually make it that obvious and then show us something and show us the same exact thing, it wouldn't be as cool as they would want it to be now. So I believe personally that one, as I kind of understand where you come from, where Marvin Gerard, because at the end of the day, he was one of the main people who did not approve of Liz taking over the empire for some reason. He did not really approve of it. So I understand why you will push towards that, but at the end of the day, in this whole show, you, for yourself, what was so straightforward that you could have guessed it before it happened? What was actually so straightforward? I don't think it really had anything that was so straightforward.
I agree with you with that. I can't deny that. I think the only thing I kind of predict was, and it wasn't really a prediction, I assume that it was Kaplan's sister was in the building and it's so said to be so, but I wasn't 100% sure. Because as you rightfully said, we didn't see her body.
Okay, which is true, right? So, for me personally, I understand, and then, okay, I understand, well, for my theory where it could be Liz, it have a lot of things that could debunk that and make it not true, which is like, Liz, you could have seen that she died, she was buried, all those different stuff and thing. But, and also, well, for me, I find that even if, for some reason, Liz was always like that, like she was always smart enough to be able to get out of trouble, if you understand. And then also, why I would say Liz and Mr. Kaplan still in it is because when Liz was betraying Reddington, she was in a room alone. That was the season where Liz was someone else, like someone was.
I remember.
Right, and she had to put on the eyepiece and for Liz to hear and talk through her and stuff like that. Kaplan was in the room with her. Kaplan was in the room talking to her as normal. And why would they bring back Kaplan after the show that? After they show that, why would they bring back Kaplan in it?
When you say bring back Kaplan,
okay, her name, okay, she's supposed to be dead.
Correct.
And her name just appear in the show again. Why?
Alright. You want me to answer the question or you want me to jump to my secret suspect?
No, wait, before that, right?
Yeah.
I just saying it like this. Kaplan was dead already. And it was a mystery when she came back, right? And what happened? She got shot in the head, which is like almost a 99% chance she die. And it did not happen. She did not die or anything like that. For her to choose to jump into the water, right? She chose to jump into the water, and also she chose to jump into the water by herself. Nobody forced her. She could have gotten the opportunity to either go to jail or killed by the police if she done something different, right? She could have been able to get killed by the police or go to jail, but she chose to jump in the water at that specific time. And she had another option, which was what Reddington gave her, which is a house, some way to live out the rest of her life or something. And she chose to jump into the water.
Okay, that is basically your explanation of Kaplan being alive, right? And I can't deny that also. What do you think had to do with Kaplan basically allowing her sister to pretend to be her in the building and die? So you think her sister sacrificed herself? That is what you're saying?
Yeah. Honestly, I believe that her sister really and truly sacrificed herself for Kaplan, because I believe that people were like catching on that Kaplan alive, and she needed a way to get out of that, I believe.
I still going with the majority of the people. No, basically around that scenario, right? Because the person I actually have in mind have no connections to those people, right?
Okay.
Alright, I think I mentioned him to you once recently, but I have a good explanation behind it. Now, I don't think this person is the mastermind, but I think he will make a return, right? He cannot not. What they did, the way they exit him out of the show, he has to make a return, but I still want to deal with, because I think talking about Kaplan and talking about Marvin Gerard, all of them still connected in some way, right? Because all of them are associated together under Reddington, right? So this person I'm talking about, he was not really under Reddington, but the point is, Marvin Gerard, if he's covering stuff up, now let's be real, if you think back to that time when Reddington came out to everyone and he claimed that he was not well and all of that, and Marvin Gerard was not approving of why, like he was against Liz then. Liz being the chosen one to take over. He was the only one openly speaking, saying, I am against it. And this is not the first time people had suspected Marvin Gerard. This is not the first time. Now, prior to this, I actually thought Marvin Gerard had snitched on him. Prior to this whole thing. That's when Liz was alive. Right? This is the first time he always looking suspicious and he always clearing his name. If you notice that people always wondering if Marvin Gerard is the one. I'm talking about even in the show, right? I can't recall exact moments, but everyone is like, Marvin Gerard did it, and he always showed that no loyalty, but he always had something suspicious about him, right? And he was against Liz being the head of the organization. And to just wrap up that, Marvin Gerard could be trying to draw away suspicion towards him by making a dead woman be alive, bringing a dead woman back to life, and also killing her again, to basically make it look as if, okay, alright, this was the person who was trying to scam me, and they're dead now. I think this is a way to make Reddington leave it alone then. Like okay, it was Kaplan and she's dead now. That is how I seen it, right? Because the thing is, that could be one way, and then as I was saying before, what if Reddington had went in the building? Was this person willing to kill Reddington? Because if Marvin Gerard willing to kill Reddington, I mean there's somebody he sees as being more worthy of the position. So those people, it's very confusing. I believe Marvin Gerard probably associated it. I'm not saying Marvin Gerard is the head of it.
Yeah,
I believe somebody is using him.
Okay, so which means if you believe somebody is using him, then your second suspect is that person then?
No.
So okay, who is your second suspect?
My second suspect is Solomon.
I believe you would have said that, but at the end of the day, right? What is really the motive? Because okay, Solomon was never a person that was his own boss. He was good at what he did, but he was more of a hired contractor. You know, you give him a job and he'll be able to execute that job perfectly, almost perfectly with the people that you give him. You have to give him people, guns, you have to give him money, you have to give him everything. He was never somebody to execute something by himself. You might say that, okay, let's just say Tom's mother. He worked for Tom's mother at that point in time. And you say, okay, she fueling that, but why will she fuel money into someone to be able to take down Reddington?
You think she have all rights to say she killed? Well, not she killed, but Reddington killed her son? You think the drama that they were in when he died that night, you think Reddington is to blame?
Okay, but whatever it is, the person that is coming for Reddington right now was against Liz also, because as you said, Liz is dead. So whoever is that, will she kill Liz? If that is that is her only granddaughter, I mean his only daughter-in-law, and the daughter-in-law of her only granddaughter. the only person that could actually piece her together with her son. So will she really kill Liz? Because Liz is a part of it.
No, you brought back Tom mother, right? And I actually was like, what if Tom mother behind this? But as you say, would she have really killed Liz, right? That is a real questionable thing. And I agree with that as well, right? But Solomon, I believe they showed that he lived for a reason. You can't deny that. No, I'm not saying Solomon is the head of everything, but Solomon has a big play. He's going to come back, I believe, as the next protagonist in the show. Let me be real, because why show us Solomon live? All these other characters, is either they was dead, or you're not sure they're dead, but we know Solomon not dead, basically. We know Solomon is not dead. And we know Solomon used to work very closely with Tom mother, right? So, we know Tom mother, I'm not certain she knew Tom was her son.
No, she knew because
you're talking about a few episodes back,
Liz,
right? So
yeah, but Liz told her, and they had a conversation about it and stuff. So.
But I remember Tom and her never really openly spoke to each other about it. He came to her once, I remember, and then he left, right? So to wrap it up, I think why I brought up Solomon, I mean, is like Tom tried to basically kill Solomon, right?
Right.
I think he has the vengeance in him to kill Liz. Because it's like they use them, basically. If you understand what I'm trying to say. They use them. Now, why... Is Van Dyke was the guy?
Van Dyke, yeah.
Why would Van Dyke do a job for Solomon? It's so... If you really... if you're being realistic and you're being a thinker, like most of the people who looking at Blacklist doing, because the show open your mind, let me be really kind of things, the kind of stories it told in the show, it opened everybody's mind to not take things at face value. But what if we need to take it at face value? They're showing you clearly there was a chip in her. Was it just Townsend in the insinuation of it all? Townsend did all of this prior
to his death.
Now, still, he have people, somebody very powerful working for him. Should the people go back and look at the show, see who friends Townsend had that we didn't really take on, who friends Raymond Reddington had, and they didn't die in the show and we didn't really pay attention to it. Now, the guy who I think didn't die in the show, the two main people didn't die in this show is Solomon and Tom's mother. I can't remember her name, right? But both of them are two main powerful people. You have a gunman, I would call it, a gunman.
Right.
And you go have a boss rolling together, as we just say here, right?
Yeah.
You have a boss and a gunman, right? A shooter, right? So, is it two of them working together?
I won't believe that.
I could understand nobody accepting it. I could understand.
Yeah.
But would you agree Solomon could come back? Like, nobody thinks Solomon could come back.
No, I believe Solomon could come back, but at the end of the day, he is not the boss. It's just like Marvin Gerard. It's like saying Marvin Gerard is the boss or is the person who behind all of this. I don't believe so. Marvin Gerard, let's just say what you're saying is true. Then, Marvin Gerard is the inside man, and I forget his name.
Solomon.
And Solomon is the person that will orchestrate everything else on the outside, but both of them taking orders from somebody bigger. And I really and truly don't believe is Tom's mother, because why? The person who over the both of them, let's just say the both of them, is it right? The person who over the both of them is willing to kill Liz. Willing to a point that she is dead at the point in time. So why go and kill Liz? Why go and kill Liz? And you know that Liz is your daughter-in-law. Now that you know that, and now that you know that you have a granddaughter, and it's not like if you have your granddaughter right now, and you and Liz actually had an okay relationship before she died. So it's like, why kill Liz? So I don't believe it's her, but I don't know who it is. If that's the case, if Marvin, I don't think if Marvin Gerard is in it anyhow, I don't think he is the main man. And if Solomon behind it also, he's not the main person. So at the end of the day, even if both of them get figure out, they still have to find the boss.
I really think that when Raymond said someone, I think they showed us in that last episode, they showed us that is someone from his organization. I think that was the nail on the head. You wouldn't agree with that? To basically insinuate. Now, let me be real. Dembe was questioned.
Right.
What's the lady, the nice lady who they had in prison for a little while, you can remember her name?
Hattie.
Yeah, alright.
Yeah.
they showed you that they put her to the test, she passed, right? We saw Kaplan, we know what Kaplan did to Raymond Reddington, right? But the question and the fact that who is the person in Raymond organization we know of a seat at the head table that has not been tested? And the only person is Marvin Gerard. And I do not want to be right because I felt like, yes, I didn't figure it out on my own. Somebody had to open up my eyes to it. But it's like, he is the lawyer. If you listen to anybody in the corporate world, you know, those high level criminals and those high level businessmen, the lawyer is always the best friend. The lawyer always has the power to destroy you. Who has access to Raymond Reddington accounts?
Okay, other than him, other than Marvin, right? I understand that, but you might think no, but his new bodyguard that replaced Dembe. Dembe also, I understand Dembe was with Raymond for years, you know, and she basically recently came into the picture, right? But at the end of the day, Dembe, as you could see, had a little play with his money now. Like he had access, I believe, to his to Raymond's money and whatever. So I believe that she could have access to his money, and I believe she looked kind of fishy to me because of the fact that once she asked him, "What does Liz's daughter mean to him?" And I find that was weird. Like that is just a weird out of the way question, and she always looks like she asking a question that she shouldn't be asking, or you know, things that then Bea never really used to ask and stuff, you know. She kind of asking questions. She always in the background, you know. It's always like that. I believe she has something to do with it. It will be sad if that is the case, but I believe so. I really and truly believe she has something to do with it big, whatever it is.
I think even if she has something to do with it, it's just to track Raymond and track Raymond movements. But I don't really think personally. I could understand what you're saying, but I don't think she actually involved, because the point is, if we seen like a link, right? The link to me is when Raymond always calling Marvin Gerard to tell him what he's going to do next. It's like you're literally telling the enemy what you're going to do next, right?
Yeah, you're always telling the enemy what you want to do next, right? Also, who in the car all the time with you? Because at the end of the day, he did not call the enemy he did not call Marvin Gerard every single time. Yes, he called them in times that you can remember, but not every single time. But who was with him at all times? And who knows everything all the time, every single time?
She is the one with him, I agree 100%. But I think I could debate the fact that 3/4, if not all the times, Raymond has made a decision, he calls Marvin. We mightn't see Marvin face, but I think when we see in the comments, people could confirm with us if it is every time Raymond decides to make a move, if he doesn't at least shoots a call to Marvin Gerard. I think most people will agree. Now, I'm not putting my head on a block for Marvin Gerard, but the point is, Marvin Gerard is suspicious right now. We could agree on that. And who else could we really suspect that we know is wrong at the moment, that we know is in the organization, right? As you say, the only person is a organization link that is not Marvin Gerard is a woman we don't know if she dead or alive.
Okay, as you can clearly see, right? Sometimes you'll say, hey, this person is the reason for this, or this person is the reason for that, and then bap, a new character come into the play. Same as Townsend. Townsend had nothing to do with anything until he had something to do with everything, if you understand what I mean. So 1 minute, he's a nobody, you don't even know he would even be in the show, and then bap, a new person against Raymond Reddington. Okay, remember, at the end of the day, it has something called a blacklist. And the blacklist has people like Townsend on it. So at the end of the day, it could be somebody totally different. Yes, it does have a link towards one of those people that we call. It have a link, I believe, with one of those people. But we might think, okay, we know who is the boss of who running the organization to kill him right now. We might think we know that, but we don't. We technically don't know, you know. And it have a lot of people. And death in this show is a kind of weird thing, because you might even say look, we didn't even see Tom's body, but he's dead. Okay, that was at least the thing. He was dead, you know. In Liz, the first time Liz died, we saw her body. in the coffin, but it was a totally different person. It was a totally different person. Everybody thought she was dead. It have ways of doing things. I believe so. So at the end of the day, I will still stay with that Liz, because for me too, it kind of weird how Liz died. It really actually kind of weird how Liz died. So,
but you would accept, I understand you predicted, so clearly that means you would accept Liz coming back, right?
yeah.
You really would accept, but you have any idea how they could do it?
Honestly, I have, okay, the same as Liz went to live with Tom after she died. The first time she died, she went to live with Tom or whatever is the case like that, and that is how she came back into the show, right? The second time she died, it could honestly mean that after they find out who behind it, they realize is really her. You understand? Because, okay, whoever died, no problem. I mean, whoever behind it, right? Why go for the disc, the CDs that he had in the house that only he and the person who was looking after the house knows about? Why go after that? Think about it. The only person knows about that is, I will say, is him, then be Liz, because Liz have to know what she have to do after he died. So Liz, then be him and the person in the house. And who going to know about that other than Liz, Dembe, or himself?
Alright, I think there's a question I would love to hear as I see comments and people referring to what they think about it, right? So we go just pause for a minute and make we closing remarks, right? Alright, so we're back in the dance here again. So just to make our closing remarks, we want to decide the next episode coming up here. Will Raymond Reddington betrayal be revealed, right? Would, as most people say, the number 2 on the blacklist be revealed? And Sonny made a point just now, right? He said, what if we're going to see a character we haven't even seen? What if the person who is behind this is a new character we haven't seen yet? Alright? And what if all of us theory about Raymond Reddington being Katerina Rostova is wrong and we actually get to meet Katerina Rostova? Right? What you expecting in the next episode? Will the betrayer be revealed? Will we get to see who is the person orchestrated Liz's death?
No, I honestly don't believe we're going to see the person. I don't believe it's going to come out on this episode. I believe they're going to use this episode as the last episode, which is just to look and different things that happening within the task force, and different things that happening to Cooper, and different things that happening to Reddington, and nothing really to the point, because I believe that they're stretching the ending, So I really and truly don't believe they're going to figure out that now.
I'm starting to ask myself, are we going to get a next season? No. This whole season basically was about trying to find out who killed Liz. Everybody, I haven't heard anyone ask who is Raymond Reddington for this season. I think this is the first season nobody cares who Raymond Reddington is, and that's ridiculous because not even the fans asking who is Raymond Reddington anymore. People forgetting this is the main point of the show. Yeah. But we will leave that discussion for another episode. Alright, so it was nice for our first podcast. I enjoyed the debate here, and I hope to see you guys again, Sonny. Yeah. Right, I'm sure everybody would have a lot to say and a lot of opinions, and that is what we want. We want everybody to use the mind and tell us what you think, or what is your theory of the whole scenario of who killed Liz. And as everybody know, the main question which we will be dealing with next time is hopefully is who is Raymond Reddington. Let's get back to debating the main topic of the whole show. Who is Raymond Reddington? Alright, Sonny?
Yeah, man.
We outside.
Yeah, we out.